Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of Ramblemancy. How's everybody doing? Hi. It's good to see everybody. Tonight we will be talking about nostalgia and how it influences the way that we consume media. Yeah. But before we do that, we have some announcements. First and foremost, a thing that I learned today. Happy Disability Pride Month, everybody, because
Whoop, whoop.
it's yes, that is true and correct.
Mhm.
This month, all people with disabilities were born, all of them this month.
Happy birthday, disabled people.
Yeah, at least this one was. So anyway, hi. Um, so let's see. We do have some other announcements. Happy Wrath and Disability Pride Month. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Edge of fit. Um, so those announcements are as follows. So first and foremost, next week, Wednesday, the 7th, is the finale of Infinite Horizon. And with that
Pew, 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 pew.
ends our season of TTRPG stuff on this channel. Which means we will not be back for Infinite Horizon or In Too Deep until September. So when that happens, season finale, season finale, yeah, this ends our season finale. Um,
Believe you me, if it was the series finale, you'd know about
I don't think
it.
you
Oh
wouldn't
yeah,
be
oh yeah.
finding out about it a week ahead of time. So that's that will end our TTRPG content for the next couple months. We will still be doing Ramblemancy and game streams, maybe some one-off stuff here and there. We'll keep you posted. It depends on what we can do easily with zero planning and resources. So that's what's coming with that. We are, however, one of those one-offs that we did plan. We did it on purpose. Is the Among Us stream that was unlocked during the charity campaign a couple months ago. We are finally doing it. That's right, everybody. We're gonna murder each other in space. Not for charity, but because of charity. Um, so yeah, the all of Rule of Lore, the casts of Infinite Horizon and Into Deep, as well as the Writers' Room, will be playing Among Us on that, and that will be happening on July 15th, which is a Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, right here on this very channel. So stop by to see my face and hear everybody else's voices as they are extremely chaotic and murdering each other in space and all that sort of stuff. So yeah,
I've been practicing playing
Oh,
some Among Us the last couple of weeks, and boy howdy am I excited to play Among Us with everyone else that is here on this channel because it's going to be pure pandemonium in the best possible way.
yeah, I'll probably practice too. I
I
have
have
to
not been
practice.
practicing.
I have never played before. That's the only. I feel like if I haven't played before, I ought to practice a little bit.
I played around earlier today in which my brother and I were both the imposter, and it was everyone was doomed from the outset. It
Yeah.
was slaughter.
Um. So yeah, I think no, I know how to play Among Us. I just haven't played since last year sometime. So I know how to do it, and I have done it a lot. I just haven't. But yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's all of our announcements. I think that's everything. I think that's all we got.
Yeah,
Um.
I think
Yeah.
so.
So that's it. Let us begin. John, what do you got?
I was ready for it
I
this time.
wasn't
I knew it
sure.
was coming.
Hmm.
I was like, is he gonna throw? Is he gonna? Does he know? Does he know that I know that this is
Is
coming?
this reverse psychology or is it reverse psychology?
Oh shit! Now I don't know anymore. Anyway, tonight we're talking about nostalgia and the way that it shapes how we consume media or how we engage with media. And this was one that came up. One I know one of the things that came up right away earlier this week was just like that came up earlier in the discussion. We were kind of talking about this episode was Stranger Things, and the way that that's basically the other one. There were two things that came up in this conversation. The first was Stranger Things, and talking about how it's basically just like a nostalgia farm for even people who didn't experience that era, but like weirdly have nostalgia for it, like the trappings of it. And then also Ready Player One, which I think the general consensus was, wow, I really enjoyed that while I was reading it and not criticizing at all. And then the instant that I started doing that, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Can't forget Goonies too. I don't know if we mentioned that. The Goonies too. Anything with kids on bikes kind of saving the world kind of harkens back to, yeah, it really does.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I was paying attention to something else. Did you ask a question about that, or were you just
No, I didn't. I didn't ask. I was just kind of like vamping and like talking about like where our inspiration for the episode sort of came, and I was just hoping that a question would come out of that eventually. So
right.
we have a definition in chat from Geekouts.
Mm.
Nostalgia is explored in Simulacra and Simulation. It's a 1981 philosophical treatise by the sociologist John Baudrillard, in which the author seeks to examine the relationships between reality, symbols, and society, and in particular the significance and symbolism of culture and media involved in constructing an understanding of shared existence. That sounds super interesting. And I only parsed some of that. I will be totally honest.
Yeah, that feels very
it's dense.
Very academic journal writing, and I have intentionally not read academic journals since college. In fact, I really didn't, if we're being honest, I didn't read them in college until I needed to write something about them.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a part of college nostalgia that we can all just like happily avoid. It's not really nostalgic.
See,
it's more like
here's the thing.
It's more like post-traumatic stress.
I know we have a topic, but I'm gonna get off that topic immediately. Like, it just immediately derail us for a second, just for like a hot second, because I wanna just talk about that real quick, because every like writing teacher that I've ever had in my entire life stressed the importance of clear and concise writing and docked me points if I didn't do that. And then we had to turn around, and we were all betrayed. Because in college, we had to read academic texts that look like they upended a thesaurus and just waited around in all the pieces. And
you know,
we were still being docked points for not being clear or concise enough in our writing, all the while drawing the material for our writing from something that would put the entire contents that were lost at the Library of Alexandria to shame in its density and length. Anyway.
So it said, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, pretty much, 100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's,
My favorite experience in undergrad was listening to my rhetoric professor just rail against academic writing conventions. He's like, I don't know why they think they get to do this, especially not when I have to stand here in front of you, all you good people, and enforce an entirely, like, a set of rules that they have entirely abandoned.
It's honestly, when I was reading any kind of academic writing, it always just felt to me like I was just reading Comma Splices, the novel, and it was a lot.
Unnecessary $10 words. The sequel.
Yeah. Anyway, I have seen snakes move in straighter lines than some of the points that they made in those fucking journals.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, Edgefit. Academia is based entirely on making information inaccessible for the uninitiated. Yeah.
Well, it really is.
Yep.
And hell,
Huh.
half the time the initiated don't know what's going on either, unless they're fucking digging through there with a fine-tooth comb. And like, isn't the point of like writing communication? Isn't that what we do when we create art?
No, 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 John. The point of writing is obviously to display the fact is that here's why people write. It's because they are very smart and they just need everybody else around them to know that. To know how smart they think they are.
I'm writing this down now just for myself for a future note.
No.
Oh.
You're writing it down so that everybody else around you knows how smart you are.
Oh man. Oh man.
All right. And everyone else must
Well, and writing kind
know.
of does sometimes
Okay, there we
feel
go.
like
Got it. Down on paper.
Perfect.
I'm gonna underline it in pretty purple pen.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Just gotta justify their degrees. They wouldn't mean anything if everyone knew what you were talking about. Yep. Yeah. I mean, come on. What do you think education is for? Like actually imparting knowledge and preparing people for a complex and intricate world, ever increasing in its complexity and dynamic? Of course not.
Oh,
I thought it was to make them better at tests.
You're right. That is what it's for.
I'm sorry. That's a shot a little too close to reality.
I would hope that it would like kind of draw upon what you already have and kind of help you improve that, you know? Like draw from you something like you like knowledge you already know maybe, or a skill set like, or a craft or something, and focus in on that and help you in the right direction, maybe.
Nope. It's all about getting yours and keeping everybody else out.
Damn.
Wait, Lucas. Are you telling me that academia gatekeeps people?
Yes.
I'm shocked.
Don't
this
worry.
Is my shocked face.
Don't worry, Rose. We're not. You haven't missed the ramble. We started with a rant that has nothing to do with the topic. I just got mad. Listen. I woke up fighty today. Okay, that's what's happening.
All fight, no chill.
That's not true. I didn't actually wake up fighty. I picked it up along the way.
It was handed to me, and now I'm holding it, and now I am here. So you all must share it with me.
Anyway, yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah. No, I think we were talking about creativity and communication, and I feel like there's a segue somewhere in here into communication about like a common experience, and I feel like there's a segue into like nostalgia somewhere in here, like I'm wondering like, because there is like we were talking about like both good and bad examples to start off, right? So like I'm wondering where's the tip over point? What's like, oh, this is feel good nostalgia, like I really like this, and where does it tip over into I feel like this is not pleasant, or this doesn't hit the right notes, or this feels campy in a not good way. Like where's the tip over point?
Okay, wait a minute. Let's pause for a second. I just want to address something real quick, because there is no world for me in which I can allow you to get away with grouping campy and not good into the same. I can't allow that.
Right.
Yeah, not a stellar choice of words, because campy can be and often is very, very good. I feel like camp in general like almost has positive associations with it, but like
it's campy. Like good campy and bad campy is like Conan the Barbarian versus Conan the Destroyer, or the Destroyer. Yeah. Fight me. No, actually don't, because I don't care. But yeah. There is a tip over point. I couldn't tell you exactly where it is, but I know what the difference is, and the difference is cringe.
Mm-hmm.
The difference
like,
is, yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
I was gonna say, because like I feel that way too, because like there is a point at which something is trying to be hashtag relatable, and you're just like, I know what you are doing. Like you're trying,
Yeah.
I can feel that you are trying to like over relate to me in a way that is no longer real.
Well, and I think that the same is true of like self-aware kind of things, right? It's one thing to be when a show or a movie or a piece of media is self-aware, but there is a tip over point where it's like too self-aware, and it's like, see, we know what we're doing. Look how smart we are. Isn't this so clever? And it's like, just shut the fuck up. Just be what you are and be fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Like things that are like overly self-congratulatory about the
Yes.
fact that they're being nostalgic, or that they're like, we're giving you this experience, and aren't we so clever for dissecting this thing? And it's like, yeah.
Look at us
Oh,
being postmodern and deconstructing everything, building nothing in its place and replacing it with nothing. Like,
what was the thing that you said earlier that I wrote down? I am very smart, and everyone else must know.
yeah.
Bringing it back. Like wrapping the rant neatly into our conversation here, but
Yeah. I think like I said, I couldn't tell you exactly where that tip over point is, but I can tell you what happens when you reach it, and it is where camp turns into cringy, where it's like too
Mhm.
much.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
there are so many hit films, and I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head, but there are so many hit films that were just so like they were so earnest, and they just ended up being so fucking campy and ridiculous that they were a hit, and then a sequel came out, and the
Scorpion
sequel,
King.
yes,
Scorpion.
yes,
I got you.
perfect example. Then the sequel came out, and the sequel was trying to do it, and it just didn't work because it was trying too hard. Yes, perfect example. Scorpion King.
I was trying to look for that film. I was going to try to watch it at some point, but I couldn't find it, and that's why I was kind of ready at my fingertips.
Yeah. Yeah. Die Hard, you know what? You might be right, Edge of It, but I'll be honest with you, I fully have
Mm.
no basis for that. I have not seen anything beyond the first one. I'm not even entirely sure if I have seen the original. Like, I might have, but like my memories of it are just so hazy that either I was on drugs I didn't know I had taken, or I just didn't watch it. So, um, yeah, I truly don't know. Mm, but yeah, I'm trying to think of others that are like that, where like the
Mm.
first one was campy because it was trying to be earnest, but that it just didn't work, and it
Hmm.
was campy in spite of it was good in spite of itself,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the sequel tried to replicate the success of the first and just ended up trying too hard, totally missing the point. Um, Evil Dead
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Well,
Ooh, Evil
Hmm.
Dead, yeah, I could see that. I know I've seen one of those. I don't remember which one it was.
so like the Mummy is kind of campy in my head, but I'm not. It's been so long since I've seen any of the sequels that I'm not sure like where they fall
Nah, I love The Mummy
on that.
Returns. The Mummy Returns slaps. Don't,
Hmm.
yeah, they're both
It's all
fucking
right.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Like I seem to remember
Hmm.
liking both of them, and it
I
like
I have run into people who are like, "Oh yeah, The Mummy Returns sucks." Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
I knew
I mean
what you
that.
were going to say the moment that you
Yeah.
physically emoted.
Mm-hmm. I
Wow.
haven't seen that movie either.
It's just like,
Oh, that's an all right one.
man. What movie
Yeah.
is that?
What? That's
The
Wow, I
Big
just thank
Lebowski.
you. I fully blanked. I knew what movie it was, but my brain was just not there.
That's
Yes, Big
like your
Lebowski.
opinion,
Yeah.
man. I
I
love that
haven't
movie so much.
I haven't seen that one either. I've just seen the clip of it, and then I've heard people say it, and now it's a part of my lexicon, but I've never actually seen the media that it was a part of.
Nightmare on Elm Street. I believe that, honestly. How many of those have there been? Never mind, don't answer that. The answer's too many. Like
Yes.
yeah, that's a good example, I think. Probably. I like look, Big Lebowski, Pulp Fiction, those are movies that are on my to watch list eventually, but I just do not have the energy to watch movies ever. Um,
Hmm.
oh boy, there's a
Same.
there's a fight brewing in chat. Um,
Oh, oh boy.
Oh my God. We are to the part of the stream where Matt
Ooh,
is
excuse me.
dropping like the movie like fight me hot takes.
been told that
But
I hate Big Lebowski, so I haven't put in the effort to watch it. That's fair. I mean, that's the thing about stuff like that is like I generally like to form like when people, this is me, I'm specifically talking about me. When people I often don't listen to people when they tell me stuff like that, when they tell me like, "Oh yeah, I don't think you'd like it." Unless they give me a good reason why like I wouldn't like it and I agree with it, but generally cuz I like to form my own opinions about stuff. Um which started actually like in high school, where a friend of mine, like upon hearing that there was a particular video game that I wanted to play, his response to me was to send me just a scathing review of that video game with no other comment, and I was just like, okay, I guess, doesn't mean I'm not going to play it. And then I did, and I ended up actually loving that game. Um so yeah. That's not about your situation at all, Rose. That was purely me talking about like me in similar situations like that. But uh yeah, and I think that actually is still relevant here, because like there's so many there I cannot tell you how many times uh I have loved something that has been universally hated,
mhm.
and hated things that have been universally loved. Like it's I don't hate Marvel, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I
Mhm.
also don't find it particularly compelling. Like this is not about Marvel Comics. I know nothing about Marvel Comics.
Mhm.
I have no opinions about it
Yeah.
whatsoever, because I don't know anything about it. But as far as like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like it's one of those that so this is basically an example of that. So I think it's interesting because like this does tend to feed into the, like this is related to the topic of nostalgia, right? Because it there is a certain amount of like part of the conversation that we had going in, like when planning this episode, is talking about like how nostalgia specifically, how it affects the way that you view media, right? Where
Mhm.
like everybody kind of has their own association with a certain thing, like a certain property
Yeah.
or something. So I don't know, I think that there is a certain amount of that, that like there's a bit of overlap between those two topics of like the the generally held accepted review, so to speak, of something, and the personal side of it, and those things are not often compatible.
Like I some movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are pretty like this sure was a movie. And there are some in there that like Ragnarok um are extremely
I
good. Like
love
there's some
Thor
very good
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok is so good. There's some very very good like movies like sprinkled in there, but like in
Mhm.
general like I kind of fall in the same, the same feeling about the MCU as you, which is like this is cool. I don't feel particularly
Hmm.
strongly either way about it. I don't strongly dislike it, and I'm not like a huge Marvel fanboy. I didn't read a bunch of Marvel comics, but it's interesting to me because I get almost caught up in or carried along in other people's excitement or enjoyment of it. Like that,
Hmm.
like it's almost like secondhand nostalgia that I'm experiencing.
Hmm.
Like I can
That's cool.
feel, especially in Marvel movies and especially in like the recent stuff that they have done, like the recent series, even if I haven't read like all of the comics and stuff, I still kind of can feel what they're going for when they do stuff that's intended to in knowledgeable or like more well read members of their audience to invoke nostalgia. And I still feel that, but kind of in a different way. I'm like, oh, something's going on here, and it makes me curious,
Mhm.
right? I want to go find out what this is about, and so I can put up my cork board and pull a bunch of red strings between things and be like Pepe Sylvia, like, but with Loki or something.
Right.
Hmm. I kind of like the idea of getting like um wrapped up into someone else's nostalgia, like what you said, like the secondhand nostalgia. That's kind of that's a cool concept, especially if like I just know that I love a lot of the like DC superheroes, and I do some of the Marvel, but like my knowledge just is not like I don't have enough knowledge. If I to have someone like with the knowledge and with that nostalgia giving me their like complete impassioned speech about it is it's really awesome. I
Yeah.
love that.
Rose says also, you know, those media where you watch it again and go, oh, oh no, you talked to exactly zero women during this project.
Mm.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Age of It. I am the same way in like enjoying watching comic book nerds get super analytical in like the fun positive way, where they're
Yes.
like, oh wait, this could be a cool re-examination of this thing that happened in these comics a long time ago. It'd be really cool if they did this with it, or if it's like to see how they're kind of like iterating on this like thing that was written 20 years ago. Like I love seeing that as opposed to like the things you do sometimes see where people are like, oh, they're changing something and I hate that, but like.
See, yeah, that's what I meant, like nostalgia, like the good nostalgia for sure.
mhm.
I don't really want to hear that other side. I'm like, what? It's good to like change and like shift things and like toss it up and shake the barrel. It's good to do that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Geek Outs, with that thing about the MCU, and like I mean that's cool, and I think that they are probably gonna do some cool and interesting stuff. But like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not just talking about like the like Iron Man 1 and those sorts of I'm talking about this like including recently like with the current Marvel shows, right? Like I've enjoyed them while I was watching them, but like in general like I just feel like they aren't really they don't have too much in terms of substance, and the substantive topics that they do deal with they go just deep enough to be like, see, we did it, we put something in there that's real, but then don't really go into it. I think the WandaVision got the closest.
And then they chickened out
Yeah,
on it. Like they chickened out on that one.
it still ultimately just sort of turned into the like as Rick was saying when we like when we had him here talking about like it eventually turns into just sort of like, oh yeah, eventually it has to just become the Marvel comic book hero beatdown. And like, yeah, I get that that is sort of a conceit of the genre a little bit. Um, but I'm certain that there have been um like runs of comics that have not been that, right? Like uh
Mm-hmm.
that's not a particularly strong argument for me to make because I have not consumed any of the comics, so I couldn't say for sure. But I think mainly my point is just that like at the end of the day, like the problems are still solved through punching and big flashy lights.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah. And like maybe there is or maybe there isn't a way to solve problems with punching and big flashy lights that doesn't feel like it cheapens the experience, but I have yet to see them do it.
yeah, I think you guys in the chat, you're hitting it, you're hitting the nail on the head here, which is that um, like Rose, Disney's too big a corp to actually take risks and actually say anything. And Marvel, Disney are corporate as fuck and have to appease the military for access to cool military tech. Yep.
Oh yeah.
And China. Yeah. So like, yes,
Hmm.
yes. I think this is the core of it, and I think that's really that's kind of probably why I feel that way about those films. Yeah. Um, I mean, no, I don't expect substance from them either, Geek Outs, and I think that's the thing. Like, I don't expect that, but I do crave that in the media that I consume. So, which is why those are not like, it's not. This is not me like not giving Marvel like putting too high an expectation on Marvel movies. I know what I'm getting when I. It's like going to McDonald's. It's not a great burger or a great product or whatever, but you know what you're getting when you go there. Like you're not confused about what you're going to McDonald's for. You know what you're getting. And that's kind of I think that's more my point is that like if I go to McDonald's, I know what I'm getting. I'm not disappointed that it's not like, you know, just like really high-end beef or whatever. But I'd rather go for the high-end beef patty.
Yeah, like you don't go to McDonald's and then be upset that it's not like Shake Shack or something
Yeah.
like that. Like a actually like hand-picked like blend of ground meats and then like cooked in a certain way
Yeah.
with like quality ingredients, like stuff like that. Like you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not sponsored by any of the aforementioned parties, by the way.
Yeah, if we were, that would have probably been the end of it. That would have been the end of the sponsorship. So, but yeah, like I don't know. I think that is so. Actually, speaking of the like Disney franchises, right? Star Wars. And going back to kind of Star Wars and nostalgia. Um, one of the things that I remember is I met somebody in college. I think he has since evolved past this, but
Mm-hmm.
when I first met him and we started like talking about Star Wars or whatever, at some point the conversation came up of like certain Star Wars parodies. I don't even remember which ones we were talking about, and he was having none of it. Like he hated even the idea that somebody would not take Star Wars seriously. And I'm sorry, but I can't handle that. I can't handle that. Look,
Star Wars doesn't take itself. Star Wars shouldn't take itself.
well, that's not even the
seriously
point.
in
The
some
point is
cases,
that
but
nobody like you really if you can't laugh at the things that you love, then I don't know. I'm sorry. Like you do you, but like I don't think we're gonna get along.
yeah.
Like, I think you should be able to laugh at the things that you love. It's kind of like the same argument. This is maybe getting way too. This is a weird comparison to make. But like, it's like when people talk about, oh yeah, being patriotic is totally ignoring any flaws of in America or the system or government or whatever. Or being patriotic is like looking at it and seeing it for what it is and criticizing the things that need to change because you care about it, right? Like it's sort of a similar thing, right? Like it's the same thing in media. The same is true in media. Like if you can't laugh about the like ridiculous things and the things in the media that you love, then you know, uh then there's a really good chance that it's going to eventually go in not a good direction because there's no like it's not being held to any kind of scrutiny.
Right. And we kind of harp on it, especially with like, two English majors sitting here. Like we harp on this a lot, but like you should be able to criticize the media that you consume, whether it like if you enjoy something, you should also be able to criticize it as much as you like hold a candle to the things that you don't like very much.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Littlest Drummer, Thumb Wars, incredible. Thank you. I every once in a while I remember that all those Thumb movies exist, and it makes me so happy every time. Steve Odekirk, a comedic genius. um. What was I gonna say? The whole series growing up, amazing. Yeah, what were the ones that I watched? Thumb Wars, Bat Thumb, The God Thumb.
What?
I know there was another one, but I don't
I
remember what it
totally missed all of this.
I'm
Thumbtanic.
unaware of this.
Thumbtanic.
Thumbtanic?
What?
What?
I'm so out of the loop on
It's
this.
just full on parodies of those movies, but they're thumbs. Oh yeah, the Blair Thumb Project. I forgot about that one.
It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Are they like full length movies? Are these like
They're well, okay, full length. They're like what, like an
Are
hour
they
and a half, something like
are
that.
they
They're
are they
like an hour.
full length? Are they full length thumbs?
They might be like
This
45 minutes. I don't know. They're not. I remember
Mhm.
them being relatively short. But what? Sorry, what
I
for
feel
you?
like
What'd you say?
are they full length thumbs? It's so stupid.
There's thumbs of varying sizes in there. Okay, you know we don't want to like we
Fair.
don't want to
Hell yeah.
discriminate against. We don't want to
They're
discriminate.
feature length
Sorry, I'm
thumbs.
sorry.
Feature
God,
length thumbs.
God damn it. Coming to theaters near you.
Holy shit! March
In a
30th,
world
2001 was the original release date for Spy Kids. That was 20
Whoa.
years ago.
Oh god.
Don't say things like that.
See, for
That's
me though, that's one of those that like actually I believe it. Like it actually
Mhm.
feels like it was 20 years ago. I don't know why that one specifically, because stuff that came out before that feels like it came out more recently. But yeah,
Mhm.
that one feels like it came out 20 years ago.
I think it's a combination of the early 3D animation and also like very, very clear practical effects. Like just so you can be like, yeah, no, I know when this was made. I know when
Oh,
this
I
was
don't
made.
mean I don't mean like
Hmm.
watching the movie feels like it was 20 years ago. I mean like in terms of my perception of time and when things
Mhm.
happened, that does feel like 20 years ago. um oh my gosh. That yeah, I remember so it's a fun story. When I was in middle school, I don't remember, I think it was my 13th birthday. Is that true? 13th, 12th or 13th birthday. 13th. It definitely was 13th. Um, we had invited a bunch of my friends over, put up like a big like projector screen in the backyard and like rented a projector and also rented all of the Thumb movies. And then we just watched them all. Like when it got dark, we watched them all and then we like had a tent in the backyard and then we camped out.
So no
That's
offense
cool.
to the people who liked to do the thing where you watched the entirety of the Lord of the Rings extended editions, but that sounds like so much more fun.
A lot more chaotic, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it depends on how you watch the Lord of the Rings extended editions.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a lot shorter and possible to do. It's possible to start in the same day that you end.
Yeah.
She can't really do with the Lord of the Rings extended
No,
editions. Not if you want to sleep at any point.
I mean, listen, it's only about what 12-ish hours, 12, 13 hours,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in
Maybe.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
24
And like
minutes.
it's like it gets to be like 3 or 4 in the morning and you're like, nope. Oh, that's enough.
Yeah, in high school, which was the last time I did all of them all the way through. It was the summer after high school actually. Um, we started at I think like noon, and I think we finished at 1 a.m. So it was a lot. 4 a.m. No, Mr. Frodo, I won't carry you. Yeah, that's about right.
Samwise Gamgee finally hits his fucking limit.
Yeah. Um.
Oh, well,
Hmm?
yeah, I kind of was like lost my tongue just kind of like stopped working for a second. But speaking of Lord of the Rings, like I was looking at some old clay figures that I made back when I was like 7 or 8, when I was really getting into like when I was just like so what's the word I'm looking for? Um like taken by Lord of the
Mm-hmm.
Rings. And so I had like a nostalgic moment today, and I was thinking about how nostalgia and formative media kind of hold hands a little bit in this way, and how for me it's definitely like I was looking back, and it was the Lord of the Rings. It was the BBC radio abridged Lord of the Rings, 13 discs, 1 hour each on the disc. It's all voiced by like various actors. You have Bill Nighy as Sam Gamgee. You
Yeah.
have Ian Holmes as Frodo, and to mention more, I can't remember all of them, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
and I just like immersed myself in this between like I don't know, I can't really quite know the time, like maybe 6, 7, or 8, like really young, and I just got into this like like making clay, like made orcs, I made ring wraiths. I still have them. You know, it's like I
That's
don't know,
amazing.
remember. Yeah, do you know what that clay? It's not like actual clay. You like you make it and then you bake it and then you
Yep.
can go. Yeah, like I can't remember the name of it, but yeah. So that's a really good like adaptation of the Lord of the Rings. I would
Mhm.
suggest looking into that. It is a bridge, so they don't get everything in. How could you?
Mhm.
But I love the things that they do, like that they what they do focus on, and that they do go into the lore, like fucking Shelob's mother, Oleon Ungoliant,
Mhm.
and like how she like flees the fucking Balrogs. They're like in some kind of battle, and she goes away and she spawns with like the biggest, most baddest spiders. I'm like abridging the abridged, and like there comes Shelob, and then she eventually like dies by like consuming herself. Man, it's just fucking crazy. It's wild.
God, that's so insane. I love
And like
that.
her love-hate relationship with the light too. It's crazy. I love that. I love all that
Oh my
lore.
gosh.
Hmm.
Remember not realizing Harry Potter was racist, classist, and misogynistic as fuck?
Oh God, yeah, boy,
I do remember that.
simpler times.
Yeah.
You see, I read some Harry Potter, but I only listened to Harry Potter, and that's because it was read by Jim Dale, who's
Jim
a
Dale.
good, yep, a good voice actor, and like he's had very,
Yeah.
yeah,
Jim Dale is like he is what encapsulates he's what holds all of my good memories of Harry Potter.
exactly. Yep.
All of my previous love for Harry Potter that got watered down with, things that happened. Well, it has all fallen on that singular, pure and untarnished pillar that is Jim Dale.
I
Well, let's.
remember there's a story. I think it was Jim Dale that like for some reason the author didn't like very much, and like when they were doing the audiobook, they requested that he be able to change the phrase "pocketed it."
Mm-mm.
Pocketed
That
it.
was not Jim
That was
Dale.
somebody else. Okay.
That was
Oh yeah.
why can I never remember his name when I'm talking
No,
about him? It's
I know.
only when,
Same.
like, any other time I can pull his name out of nowhere. But, like, whenever I'm talking about him, I can never, ever remember his name.
I know I can't either, but it's
Ugh.
it's uh it's the story of just like one of the most petty things that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
The other didn't like him particularly much, but yeah. And yeah, I
But
know what you mean. I also bought I don't think I ever went to any midnight releases, but I would go
Ooh, I
I would
did.
go the day of the release and get the book and then like read it in like 6 or 7 hours
Stephen
and
Fry,
sprawl
thank
it.
you, Cactus Hugs. Thank you so much.
there it is.
Oh, I can always pull that name out of my brain when I'm not talking about him.
Hmm.
Like
Yep.
any anytime I'm not making a point about him, I could pull that name out of my brain, but not when I need to make a point. Um,
Yeah.
no, I definitely did go to midnight releases for Harry Potter 2. Like honestly,
Mm.
you know what? One of my favorite memories about one of those. So the the Barnes and Noble in Billings, Montana, of all fucking places, um, had this incredible midnight release event for, I think it was the Goblet of Fire,
Hmm.
and they like the after the store closed, they rearranged everything so that like different corners of the store were like the different house common rooms, and like all of the
Oh.
staff were different professors from the book, and they had like sorting and all that kind of like that. They had this a sorting when you came in, and they had little like activities like making your own edible wands that like with the big pretzel sticks, like the big ones
Hmm.
that then you'd like dip them in like um some sort of like frosting type stuff, and then you could decorate them with all kinds of different, like, I don't know, chocolate and whatever else was there, sprinkles, candy, whatever you want. And then they had the the cafe uh in Barnes and Noble. They ceased all of their regular operation, and instead they had things on the menu like pumpkin juice and like
Oh
all these
my
things. They
God.
went all fucking out in Billings, Montana, of all places.
I feel like that's where you're gonna get that shit happening. If it's gonna be anywhere, it's gonna be a very excited like rural bookstore owner just like going absolutely
Well,
ham.
listen, not to throw shade on Montana, but like Montana and reading don't really go together. Like,
Fair.
especially not then. Back then, like, was like, I don't know. It was just, I was like the only kid my age who, anywhere around me, who liked reading
Hmm.
and also who like could with any degree of sophistication. So
Hmm.
it was weird. Like, all of my peers growing up in Montana, like, they were not into reading at all. Like, I went, look, I went as Harry Potter for Halloween 2 years in a row because the first year nobody fucking knew who I was.
Hmm.
So I went the second year again out of spite.
See, I always went as Harry Potter because back then when I was a child, I had round glasses for obvious reasons. And then having kind of messy, short brown hair, like I was before Daniel Radcliffe grew into looking like adult Daniel Radcliffe, people were like, "Oh yeah, this kid looks like Harry
Mm-hmm.
Potter."
Yep.
Like young Jonathan was the spitting image for the original cover art of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah. Rose,
Oh.
Harry Potter was the first chapter book I read by myself as a very determined 6-year-old, so gaining awareness of the subtext has been a big sad. Yeah,
Hmm.
I was also 6 when I first was introduced to Harry Potter. I think there was only 3 books out at the time. It was only the first 3. But yeah, I think that those might be. Actually, I don't know. It was around the same time. Harry Potter is actually what got me into reading.
Same.
And it's what
Hmm.
what got me into, because there were only 3 books out at the time, and there was a 4th book coming, but who knew when that was gonna come out? Um, so didn't have Twitter then to have like authors tweeting about like schedules and having whatever, none of that, um, drumming up hype for the thing. So in between, like my mom and I, we like went to the Barnes and Noble. Actually, that was where we like lived, and found all kinds of other books just to tide us over, right? Like that's how I started. It's how I read The Lord of the Rings. Because I think my dad was like, "Oh, well, if you like this kind of stuff, you guys should read The Hobbit," because he read it when he was much younger.
Mhm.
And I think he had a copy or found. I don't remember. Anyway, we got a copy of The Hobbit, and then we went from there. And I was like, "Oh, now The Lord of the Rings," and all kinds of other stuff. I read The Boggart by Susan Cooper,
Yep.
which is a great book.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of books. Like that's how I got introduced to the series of unfortunate events, which I kind of bounced off of. I didn't really love those. Um,
I think momentum
Hmm.
carried me through the latter like half dozen
Huh.
of those.
I see. I only read the first 2. I did like the
Yeah.
second one, The Reptile Room.
The
I
reptile room was so
I
good.
did like that one, but yeah.
What
Hmm.
I would do with the reptile room is I would read up to the chapter
Yep.
where their relative died, and then I would stop.
Montgomery, Montgomery, Uncle
Yep.
Monty.
I would read up until the chapter Uncle Monty died, and then I would stop.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
and then I would pretend that they lived happily ever after with Uncle Monty.
Oh no. Oh no.
Because I so
Yeah.
enjoyed I loved like the Baudelaire children actually having something nice,
Yep.
and like
Hmm.
having an adult in their life who didn't want something horrible from them for just like the barest the barest moment.
Really got into herpetology after Reptile Room. Nice. That's awesome.
Ooh,
The Hobbit got me to love books. My dad would do all the voices. That's amazing, Rose. I
that's
love that.
awesome. Yeah, my dad started reading The Hobbit to me, and then I did what became a pattern with books was to steal the book and then read it under my
Yeah.
covers with a flashlight.
Listen, I got tired of my mom falling asleep in the middle of the chapter.
Get your shit together,
Just
Mom.
Come on. um,
My mother and father was Jim Dale. So
I was raised by Jim Dale.
yeah. You know what?
In the wild.
That
I swear I've said
you
that.
could do worse.
Oh, like I even got to a point where when I first saw the Harry Potter movies, I just imagined the actors, but it was dubbed over with Jim Dale's voice. That's where I got to.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what else. See, that's the thing. Like, there's the stuff that I was really into as a kid, but those are things I don't feel like nostalgia for necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like Star Wars, for instance. Like, Star Wars is like the thing. Like, that is the formative media in my life. I mean, I guess unless you count the Muppets, which I did like the Muppets, but I was never like obsessed with the Muppets. But I don't really have a sense of nostalgia about Star Wars, and that's probably largely because it has been with me throughout the entirety of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then, like, new stuff, because I was always, even like after sort of exhausting the novelty of the movies, I moved to novels. Sorry, I just see what I did there. I just did the little
fuck
flip
out.
around.
Get out of here.
All right, see you, everybody. That's all I got. Bye.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone, for coming to Ramblemancy tonight. That's the end of the show.
Roll credits.
Oh, look, Amethyst Cat Lady has arrived just in time for puns.
But yeah, like, so I don't know. I think the things that I feel more nostalgia for tend to be the things that I saw or experienced when I was younger, but then there was no new stuff later on.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like, for instance,
Yeah.
yeah, like I have a sort of like a weird nostalgic thing for, like, Freeman, actually, you mentioned The Goonies, and like, yes, absolutely, The Goonies. There are a lot of other movies that are like that I watched around the same time that now I like, very like similar in tone, but I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. But yeah, sort of a weird nostalgia for those kinds of things, because well, there hasn't been another Goonies movie since then.
Oh, yeah.
And God forbid there ever is.
If some major studio remakes The Goonies, it will be horrible. It will be awful. It will be like a homogenized, like corporate piece of trash.
I am not at all the sort of person who will like disparage anybody because of the generation that they are in. They had no say in that, and our generation is as weird and strange to those that came before us as the ones that came after us are to us. So I am not that person. That said, I do not want to watch The Goonies but Zoomers. I don't want to. I just don't.
Yeah. No. Nope. Don't.
Yeah, fair.
I don't want that. I don't want that. If I'm not watching The Goonies on a VHS like player that I had to go buy off of eBay somewhere, like what am I even doing?
Yeah.
Please be kind and rewind.
Oh my god. Having that at the end of every single thing, like every single VHS tape that you rented from Blockbuster, huh? Be kind, rewind.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And no one did.
No one did.
Oh, I always did.
I remember that's a wild thing. I remember going to like Family Video or whatever and seeing people rewind, like the person behind the counter rewinding VHS tapes on a machine up there.
Yeah. You know, something we haven't really talked a lot about is video games. Because for me, while Star Wars, in terms of like the movies or whatever, they don't have a whole lot of nostalgia for me. The game Star Wars Rogue Squadron Also, the uh, Jedi Knight series. Those were very good.
You know what Star Wars game is hugely nostalgic for me?
Hmm.
It's the old Super Nintendo one. I can't remember. I can't. Let me look up the name of it.
Hmm.
Um, can you describe it?
It started. Which movie is it that starts on Hoth with the?
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it was the Empire Strikes Back Super NES game. And you played
Oh,
as Luke Skywalker on Hoth. And there was like a speeder level, and then like there was essentially like navigating ice caverns on Hoth afterwards with your lightsaber and using the Force and stuff like that. And I can remember so very little about it, but it was one of the few Super NES games that my grandma had in her attic. And when I had exhausted my love of Super Metroid, or the other kids wouldn't let me play that, then we would play. Then like that one, we would bust that one
that
out.
was like a.
So
Was that like a? Because I know that I played a similar game on like I didn't not mine because I didn't have one, but on a friend's Game Boy.
it was like a puzzle platformer, but not quite.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a 2D platformer. Um, I don't know if it was the same one. It might not have been, but yeah. um, let's see. What am I looking at here? Um, this
Some folks
here's
talking about
Yukon
the
Trail. Man, I tried to play Yukon Trail once, but the computer that it was on just like straight up would not like refused to run it. It would run other games, but it wouldn't run that one for some reason. It just got stuck in a loading loop, so I never got to play Yukon Trail. Oh shit! I was just thinking about this the other
Mm-hmm.
day. I can't believe I didn't think about it in context of this Ramblemancy. But so, did any of y'all ever play Lego Island?
No.
I remember my friend and I rode our bikes to the school library where they had computers in the library where we would sit there and we would just play Lego Island, and that was like the coolest shit. Like we loved that game. Um, and that was like what we had to do because you could. Hmm, that was in the days when. That was in the days when you couldn't just download games from Steam, but you had to actually find them the physical copy, or else you didn't play that game. Um,
Yeah.
Old man
so,
Lucas shaking his
Prove,
cane at
bravo.
Zoomers on his lawn.
um,
I do actually know the game that you were
yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
about. I'm pretty sure it was a similar experience. It was either on school computers or it
Mm-hmm.
was on the
Hmm.
library
Yeah,
computers.
yeah.
In ed. I think
Man.
I think actually when I did it was like in a library summer camp that I was at. I
Back when,
played like an hour of it.
back when you got the internet through the mail.
Ah!
Amethyst. That is
Um,
yes. I mean, it's very funny, but also yes, you're absolutely correct. Very accurate.
The
Like
internet through the
Netflix. Yeah,
mail.
back when Netflix. Oh my god.
Back when Netflix was a mail order service, and
mhm.
that's oof.
It was
Yeah.
until very recently, like shockingly recently.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like they just in the last couple of years discontinued their mail service,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Mhm. For the Zoom beanies nostalgia. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna need you to explain that one to me, Cactus Hogs. I'm gonna need you to like explain that a little bit, cause
Let's unpack that.
like yeah, I,
Yep.
I wanna, I don't know what that is. So
I mean, you can still get DVDs. Hold on.
Infinite
From
Construct.
that.
Oh, Claire, hi.
Hey, Claire.
For a while there were still some movies you could only get via mail. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah. That was
you can. Oh my God, I just went to netflix.com and in fact you can mail order DVDs
wait,
still.
still? I thought I remembered them saying that they
Hmm.
like discontinue whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Zoom
you can.
Beanies was a kid's educational game from like 2002. Okay, I don't know that one. Um, oh my God, there were so many of those. Like, There was one, I straight up don't remember what it was called, but there was one on the same, like, on the library computer that was like this weird, like, castle building one where it was like this 3D sort of like, like you get to build like the walls of the castle. And I don't remember much of the
Hmm.
gameplay other than like building a castle, but it was literally like, that, I think that might have been the whole game. It's just walking around in this 3D environment, building a castle. That's it. Like there,
Yeah,
I don't think there was no
like
Hmm.
fighting to be done. There was no like, it was. That's it. That's all it was.
games had to be so small back then that like you were very limited in the things that you could actually do in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it has to fit on a floppy disk, where like the cartridge on a like for a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo, like you can't store a lot of data on there. So like you get what you get.
Oh man.
I always remember like City Jumper, where you're just a stick figure running and jumping over
Oh
buildings.
yeah.
I
Yep.
forget the website, but yeah, that was
Yeah.
a.
I
I don't know
remember
why I
that.
got sucked in.
Weren't we?
Yeah,
Didn't they have those at the computer at our school, Freeman? And
absolutely.
that's what I thought.
Yep.
I remember y'all back there playing it like during lunch and like.
Like I could have been doing things on my lunch, like eating lunch, but I wanted to jump over
Right.
buildings.
Yes, of course.
There you go. You
Yes.
shove lunch in your face in like 3 minutes and then rush off to the library, the school library.
Oh man.
Oh. Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Yep.
Yeah, Claire, and missing floppy disks and also zip drives. I remember having
Yeah.
in middle school having Pivot, the like stick person animation software installed on a flash drive. And then I would go like I would dick around in the library by plugging in my flash drive with Pivot. And there was another game on there that I can't remember what it was. It was basically just like a platformer physics simulator
Hmm.
thing. But
Cactus Hugs, thank you so much for gifting that sub to Claire. Claire, welcome to the Lore Keepers. A thing that we haven't said a lot because we sort of came up with it on a stream and then completely forgot about it. But, um, uh, yeah. Well, God, now I'm like running through my like, I am reaching back through like years and years of memories, trying to pull back to some of those like older video games that I played. My friend and I actually did beat one of the Oregon Trail games. I don't remember which one it was.
Hmm.
I want to say it was Oregon Trail 2 or 3, whichever one ends with you like rafting, like a rafting game down the Columbia. Um and you have to like dodge debris in the river. I want to say that's 2
Huh.
or 3. I truly don't remember. Um
I remember I remember playing, and this is an old one too. I remember playing Bugdom. I don't know
Bugged
if
him.
anybody.
Nobody fucking knows that game. Nobody knows that game.
I'm so glad that somebody else knows what this is.
Nobody fucking knows that game. I played it exactly
was
one time, but it made such an
Yeah.
impression on my 8-year-old brain. Like,
Huh.
Oh, I'm so glad that somebody else knows what Bugdom was, because I also played it when I was like 6 fucking
honestly,
years old on my mother's Macintosh. Like,
honestly, I was starting to think that I had hallucinated the whole thing.
no, what I was doing just now when you saw me looking at my other screen was frantically trying to Google things that I thought was the name.
Yeah.
And then I got to it eventually,
Oh
and I
my
was like,
God.
bugged, and I saw a screenshot, and I was like, I've been in this exact place looking at this exact weird nut-shaped thing on the ground.
That's
Like,
John. That's because the game only takes place in that, and that's the only level of the game because they were much smaller back then. Oh my
oh
God.
my
gosh.
God.
Power Rangers.
Wow.
What about Power Rangers?
Just that's another one that's like one for me that I think about, because that was I would be at a friend's house and they'd be playing it. A lot of media for me, I think, is like I'm at someone else's house.
Yeah.
Or I'm at a family reunion and my cousins are all girls and they wanted to watch Powerpuff Girls, so they overpowered me and I watched Powerpuff Girls and I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Powerpuff Girls slaps.
Yeah, it does. And I absolutely.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. These are the ingredients.
what was I going to say? Yeah, I'm the same way, Freeman. Actually, in a lot of cases, because there was a lot of things that I wasn't allowed to watch or anything. Like, I feel like, just to clarify, like, I feel like often when people say that, oh yeah, there were certain things, like my parents didn't allow me to watch these very like common things or whatever. It's usually a religious context. That was absolutely not the case in my like for me. It was more just like more just like my parents had a term for stuff, which is it's junk food for the brain, right? Like that was the
Mm-hmm.
um.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was a lot of stuff that I just like totally did not engage with. Like when people talk about like Disney films, I'm not a Disney kid. I was not a Disney kid. I did not grow up on animated Disney films, and to this day I'm still very like about Disney in general. So like it's that is absolutely not something that factors into my like nostalgia. Um yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Cactus Hugs. I'm not letting you watch Pokemon. It's dog fighting rather than any religious explanation. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Explains a lot of your opinions about Pokemon. I think in the present day too. Honestly, when any of us are being nostalgic about it, like I feel like Cactus Hugs is always the one to be like, yeah, and then you think about it for more than 5 minutes, and you're like,
Yeah.
like, wow, this is horrible and extremely dark.
Yeah. Um. Oh, they were right.
Yeah, they super were.
Yeah. No, like, yeah. Pokemon was another one that like I just fully skipped out on. Like, I just did not. I don't know. Oh, I think part of this is also the fact that I was like until like fifth grade, I was homeschooled in rural Montana, a town of
Yes.
500 people. So like I didn't I didn't have the influence of like, recess at school and, kids sharing stuff and bringing the stuff from home and
Some kid who had jammed his Game Boy Color
yeah.
into his back pocket so that he could play. You could watch him play Pokemon or Zelda on his Game Boy Color or his Game Boy Advance underneath the slide. Yeah, that experience.
Yes, exactly. Um yeah. Disney's Robin Hood was formative for me. Speaking of Robin Hood,
Huh.
Sword in the Stone. Now that's one that I have a lot of nostalgia for.
Yes.
Oh my god,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, Edge
dude.
of It. Yeah, same brain cell. There we go.
Oh,
Sword in the Stone and Black Cauldron.
Ooh, I don't know if I
That's
ever saw Black Cauldron. I
that's a
read the
good
book,
one.
I
That's a good.
think.
that scene of like hacking through the thorns while the dragon, like the big black dragon, is up on the castle above, breathing fire down through them, is like seared into my brain forever.
I was obsessed with the like necromancy part of it, with the like cauldron bringing back like the dead army and
That
everything.
shit is fucking
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Remy,
Remy.
hi. Yeah, Okay, so here's the fun thing. We're gonna break away from this topic for a second because when we started when we were starting the stream tonight, um I had told everybody. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be late, minor crisis." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, when I got in, everybody, Freeman and John, were asking me if I was okay, and I was like, "I'm fine. I'm just pissed off because of like all of this stuff, and it's a funny story and it deserves to be told when I'm not pissed off." So, since we're live on the internet, I can't think of a better time to tell the story.
Exactly.
So, here's what happened to me today. I made an impulse decision because I didn't feel like fucking with like this and getting it to, whatever.
I
I was
wonder.
planning on doing this for a while anyway. Like that was not the impulse decision. The impulse decision was to do it half an hour before call time. And my clipper died. My
Oh no.
clipper
Oh
died.
fuck.
I had done like this, and I had done this about to here, and then there's just like this hole like right here that was just boom. So I had to like rush around look for an older one that itself was not working because something had happened to the blade, so the blade wasn't moving Like it would turn on, but the blade wasn't moving. So I had to take the whole thing apart, and then when we took it apart, couldn't figure out how to put it back together.
Oh no.
And then finally did put it back together. And then I had to real quick just do the rest of it. So I am not going to show you the back of my head right now because I think it's fine, but I don't know that for sure. Because my plan is to wait until my clippers are fully charged and then go back over.
Oh my
Man.
god.
So
I
that's
wonder.
yeah. Got it. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, like I picked up the Zoom call and your head was shaved, and I was like, I noticed right away, and I was like, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, so I'm not going to comment at the present.
I mean, kind of, but like, yeah,
Huh.
like I was always planning on doing this because I was getting to the point where I'm like, I didn't really like what my hair was doing. Last time I grew it out from that haircut where it like got really long, I didn't love that. So I was planning on it was getting to the point where it was getting annoying and where it would have been more trouble than it was worth to maintain it. So I was planning on just doing this anyway, but the impulse decision was to do it half an hour before stream time. And I was pretty sure I was going to be able to get it done. Like that wasn't the thing that I was worried. The thing that I was concerned about was actually the thing that I was concerned about was like being able to have enough time to do it. I was like, "Oh yeah, no, totally. I think I'll have enough time to do it. No problem." And for some reason it did not enter my brain that there was a possibility that the clipper would run out of batteries cuz yep. But sure enough, that's what happened. Anyway, there it is.
Well, there it is.
Mm-hmm. So that's the fun story. What are consequences exactly?
F in chat for both sets of
Clearly,
clippers.
there were none because here we are. We started on time. Not only did we start on time, we started a minute early. So,
All right, so we've learned that all we need to do is like you just have to make us the pre-stream ritual, which is decide 30 minutes beforehand to shave your head, have both clippers die, and then we start on time.
or consider this: I
Mhm.
just pull a Caitlyn and I shave my head on stream
There you go.
in the future.
You know,
It won't be as fun because I don't have siblings who delight in torturing me, or any other kind of sibling for that matter. But so it won't be as fun. It'll be kind of loud. You probably will not have much of a view because I have exactly one possible camera angle here. I don't have anybody else to like, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah. There's no there's no like Brian David Gilbert. I'm not tour. I need more cameras. Like
Sorry, I thought I was hearing chainsaws starting up, and I was like, now they're
Oh,
just fucking with me. It's not
yeah,
chainsaw.
exactly. At like
I was gonna say,
eight, after
I was
eight.
gonna say it is 8:18 p.m.
Sure is. Um,
I will
but here's the
full.
thing. Here's the thing, though, John. In their defense, like they give a fuck.
I'm just waiting for the lawnmower to go off.
I feel bad. I feel bad about running the blender at 11 in the morning in my house. Like, I feel bad about doing that. And I know that everyone is awake. I can't imagine getting my ass up at 5 a.m. and running a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think it's been quite that bad, but I did hear that, like the other day it was like 7:30. I think the earliest I heard it was like at 7 is the earliest I've heard it happen. Um, shit be growing and it needn't.
Even with a chainsaw, I even feel a little bit of nostalgia for a chainsaw. When I hear the chainsaw, I can literally smell the wood and I can smell the oil and I can smell the gasoline that fuels the chainsaw.
Takes me
The
right back
sound
to
is
Hollow.
Oh,
terrible.
I was waiting for a punchline. I'm sorry. I was waiting for a punchline. I was waiting
No,
for...
I had no punchline.
See, for me, I feel nostalgia with when it comes to chainsaws and whatever, because when the chainsaw is running and you just really gets that right, I feel nostalgia for the time when the chainsaw wasn't doing that.
Yeah, when it wasn't doing that. Yeah,
When the
that's
chainsaw was
fair.
off.
I think
Yeah.
fondly upon the times that the chainsaw was not in my life.
I think back when I did like I was doing some kind of landscaping job, and one of the jobs I had to use a chainsaw, and I was so thankful for when that job was done and I never had to go back.
Yeah.
Like
Was
honestly,
that the
it's
trail
just
maintenance thing?
no, not
Oh.
it was years after. Yeah, it was years after. I had like
Hmm.
a not maintenance job, landscaping of some kind, and one of the jobs was doing a clearing out job, and there's this tree that was in this person's yard and they needed to clear it out. And I, my employer gave me the chainsaw. I was like, "You're good, right?" It's like, "Yep, I'm good."
I'm sorry, just the image of just like handing you a chainsaw with saying nothing else and just going, "You're good, right? You got this. You know what? Okay, bye. See ya."
just, I mean, I did know how to use one. I just didn't like it. But so
Yeah.
yeah, loud. But the smell, I like the smell. That's the problem. Like the loud, it's terrible. It's invasive.
Yeah.
But there's something about that smell that brings me back to like,
I do I
yeah,
think I know I do get what you mean, because for me, that's like whenever I'm mowing the lawn, right? The
yeah,
smell of gasoline and freshly cut grass, like that's
Hmm.
nostalgia city, baby.
yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
takes me right back to like summers living in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Like that smell. I like don't mow the lawn
Mhm.
anymore, but like one of my roommates like does regularly here and
Welcome to Chainsaw. Try to not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to not.
Lumber yards and old school hardware stores bring me back to my childhood. Ooh,
Hmm.
interesting. Yeah, like that's the stuff that I find so fascinating, right? Especially because like they talk about like they, how like scientifically smell, your sense of smell is the one most associated with memory, which I think is fascinating. Like that's so random. Like it's not, and I love that it's not our dominant sense, which is for most
Hmm.
people, right? Like like vision. It's your fucking nose. Like that's so your sense of smell. That's so fucking strange. Which does uh it does make me think of like, right, like our friend, we have a friend who like has like he has no sense of smell. Um which like makes me wonder like how does he experience, not just experience the world, but like he
Hmm.
doesn't get the nostalgia of like smells. Like that's
Hmm.
like the kind of like olfactory memory, right?
Well, like I walking out walking out into the first like crisp fall day and taking that breath in and the dual sensation of it just being like physically cold outside but also the smell of cold and a
Yes.
little bit of damp
Yeah.
in the fall,
Yes.
like every time that happens that takes me back to like two places, and one of them is like my backyard in the town that I grew up in, and then also stepping out of Brant Hall on Luther College
Mm-hmm.
at 7:45 in the morning to go to music theory my freshman year of college. Like I'm teleported back there
Hmm.
every single time that happens, every fall, like when it comes around.
Yeah. Yeah. The smell of astroturf in the summer instant track meet. Ooh, interesting, Rose.
Yep.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's crazy though that some chemicals can be detected at 210 parts per trillion. Whoa, that's wild. I didn't
Hmm.
know that. Yeah, Littlest Drummer, smell is such a big part of tasting food.
Mhm.
It's surprising to me, this friend of ours, it's surprising to me that he is as good at like putting like at flavoring food as he is, because he himself has no sense of has like a very dull sense of taste. Like the
Hmm.
entirety
Hmm.
of his ability to taste things is in his mouth, is in his tongue. because he has no help from his nose. Like, he has no sense of smell at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he can taste things, but it's like it's fascinating to me, right? Because like it's one of the reasons why he does not like beer. Because the thing about beer is the flavors in beer tend to be very like subtle and nuanced. Like they so he does not like beer because for him it's just I'm trying to imagine what beer would taste like without being able to taste like the nuance of
Hot
flavor.
garbage.
Hot garbage,
Like
yes.
just about any alcohol, I imagine, that isn't almost entirely flavorless, like vodka or something. Like
Yeah,
I imagine would be kind of
for
kind
him
of
it's
weird.
the really it's actually like the more like sugary drinks because they tend to be a little stronger in flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And a little less about subtlety of flavor. like
Yeah.
like a Mike's, for instance, would not, like, that's not subtle in its flavor palette.
Not
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever.
um
It strives to be not subtle, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. um there's
And then the Mike's Harder says, how about some more?
mhm,
But
yeah.
Beer will taste like, why would you do that to yourself? As usual, says
Oh my
Royce.
God! Sorry, I not Littlest Drummer says there's a chemical used in chemical warfare that smells like fresh cut grass. And when my father was in grad school, the window to his lab was open, and the groundskeeper was cutting the grass, and he freaked out because he thought he'd made a dangerous chemical. That's
Oh,
terrifying.
it
God, that's
is.
wild.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
Wow.
uh,
That's pretty terrifying. Also, yeah, wow.
Back to fresh cut grass.
Makes sense.
The place that fresh cut grass also takes me is the third floor of Maine.
huh? Sorry.
The other place that fresh cut grass takes me is classrooms in
Mm,
Maine back at our
yeah,
college, like
yeah.
having the windows open in the spring semester, and like grounds is outside mowing, and
The
the professors are just like,
Yeah, the funniest thing for me is that this always used to crack me up is because like the mowers were like hybrid, so that they could use some of the grease, like the frying grease that was sort of like recycled from the cap.
yeah.
So like not all the way through spring, but like the earliest times when they would start mowing the lawn, like the grounds would just smell like French fries because they were.
Is that why it was?
Yes, that is why.
Oh my
That's a
God,
fun
I did
fact.
not
I
know
I
that.
actually learned that on my tour of the school. Like our tour guide told me that.
I went to that school for 5 years and I did not know
Mm-hmm.
that. I
Yep.
did not know that the mowers were partially powered
Yep.
by French fry oil.
Yep. Um. Oh yeah, Claire. Exactly. The smell of photochemistry is a big part of my childhood since my father worked in that environment. I also have really strong associations, like nostalgic associations, but mine are from high school because I took a photography class in high school, and where did uh we did develop our photos in the in the classroom there. Like there was a dark room, and um that was like a very like formative time in high school in particular, because that was the part of high school where I started coming into my own. um so like I have really strong associations with like the smell of the chemicals. And yeah, it's yep. um there's really nothing else that smells like that so specific. Yeah, yeah, it really is. I really really loved doing so. The way that class worked is it was a full year thing. You didn't have to take it the whole year, but the first semester was like film photography, and the second semester was uh digital. And I found that I was so much less engaged in that class when we moved to the digital photography. Like, it just felt like I would do it, and I was just like, oh, that's it, I guess. And like, it's as opposed to all of the things that go into like the film photography, or like all the different settings that you have to adjust manually, and all the different like the composition that you have to. It's so, I don't know.
And then not knowing whether or not your photo turned out until a day later.
Yeah.
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 Yep. Yep. I used to like I didn't take a like any of the classes that were offered at my high school, but I did have a like I had a dad. My dad was into photography, and then also like my mom knew the art teacher. And
Mm.
so like I just had essentially a few like private lessons from the art teacher like outside of school. And so I spent a lot of time running around the nature center and like parks and like just the city in general with my dad's old Pentax K1000, like fucking around with like different like speeds of film and like, you know, the focus and exposure rate on the old camera and like everything, like just all of like it was so much fun to me, like all of the things that you could tinker with on those old cameras. I didn't know how to develop the film. I always had to go to an Ames 1 hour photo, but
Yeah. Um.
Hmm.
Sorry, I just saw Claire said it's digital is very cool and a lot of fun, but there's a bit of magic in seeing your negatives come out right. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
absolutely. I still have a
Hmm.
photo that I took from a self-portrait assignment that we did in that class. That so I was in a play, what that was sort of like a murder mystery farce that semester, and I was the bumbling detective, and I like got really into the like the role, or not the role, but like the genre of the play, and I decided that I wanted to do my self portrait in that character that I was playing. And so I did the essentially the Mason getup. Like I did the whole like the trench coat. I had like the fedora, which I actually think I borrowed from you, Freeman,
Mm-hmm.
for the
Yeah.
play. Like I had the fedora, and then there was like so there we went into the green room. My friend and I, we went, who was also in that class, we went into the green room, and the light that was coming in through like these really high windows, like high set in the wall. That was coming in just at the perfect angle where I could get it so that it like cut across the hat and like shadowed most of my face, caught my eye and across my cheek, like the lower half of my face, and it was just perfect enough that I could get the composition so that with the lights out in the green room, everything behind me was dark and only me and like my like I was like the light was hitting me and nothing else, and it was amazing. I still have that photo. I like literally I walk past it every time I like go to my room. Um and that like the satisfaction of like developing that, and then it turned out, and oof,
Mhm.
oof, the rush is the rush.
Mhm.
um yeah. uh so here's the fun thing.
Mhm.
It's actually the end of Ramblemancy.
Oh shit, you're right.
I didn't realize that until
Like I
just
even said what time it was like 15, 20 minutes ago, and I still didn't
Uh-huh.
realize
yep.
what the
It
time
just
was.
didn't register in my brain that that meant that we had 12 minutes of the show left. Like,
Yeah, no. uh
Man.
what even is time indeed, Rose?
It's a good question.
uh yeah, so
Imagined. I was trying to say
time.
imagination.
time is
a weird soup.
time is a weird soup. Mm-hmm.
That should have been a pie, but
Time, it's like, yeah, it's like a pie. It's like uh
it didn't set in the oven for long enough. It didn't get baked, so it was actually a soup in a pie shape.
time is three pies stacked on top of each other in a trench coat. I've fully lost the
Time
analogy at this point.
time is joining the Discord where you can keep up with all of the announcements, rule of law. It's
That's a
actually
good point. Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah.
seriously
Yeah.
though, please do join the Discord. It is the best place that you can keep up with any of the things that we are doing. You can yell at the cast of any of the various or the cast of any of our various actual plays, or if you have thoughts about Ramblemancy that you would like to share with us after the show, you're on VOD Squad.
You can also yell at John because he deserves at least as much of the credit as I do for the crimes that are committed on Infinite Horizon.
Well,
we all
I may be going down with this ship, John, but damn it, you're coming with me.
I'm just like, I'm rowing away in a boat, and then like a life preserver just lassos me right out of it.
This is fully that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where Elizabeth ties Jack Sparrow to the mast and lets him get eaten by the Kraken. Only in this analogy, me being Elizabeth, I also stay on the boat and get eaten by the Kraken. In this case, the Kraken in this case is viewers of Infinite Horizon who are mad about our crimes, and the Discord is the wide open sea. I'm really good at analogies, you guys. I don't know if you know this about me.
Flawless. Got it in one.
But
that segue that you can yell at John for that segue. I deserve to be yelled at for that segue. Anyway, other channel announcements. Someone bail me out.
Well, like for me, for instance, today I was like washing my hair and I got shampoo in my eye and it burned. Still does a little bit. So like, if you know what I'm talking about, hit the subscribe button down below.
Subscribe.
You get really cool emotes by Cole and Leah. You can find them on Twitter at Cole Morel or That Geeky Artist. They're super cool. And the emotes are cool. Bean eyes. Or's eyes. Sorry.
Oh my god. I use Or's eyes so much on Discord now.
They're great.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
What else?
You can also support us on Patreon. Some of the rewards of which are also available to Twitch subscribers if you are on the Discord. We are a little bit late on our media club, but we're going to be posting it right after this. So, like, literally as soon as we go offline, media club will go to where it's supposed to go. And you can hear me talking about you can read about me talking about a superhero show that I actually really, really do like and think is substantive and does a lot of cool stuff.
Love that.
It's mostly me talking about comics and also just reflecting on my summer nostalgia music listens, which actually I didn't bring up at any point during this entire episode about nostalgia, but you can read about them there.
Yeah. We technically have a coffee.
It is there.
It is there.
It exists.
And it is like the drink coffee, available to you whenever you should have the money to spend on it. This is getting...
I like it.
Yeah.
This is good.
Channel announcements. We are, after Infinite Horizons finale next week on the 7th, going on a break from our actual play content, just to do a little bit of channel maintenance and also to give our lovely cast and staff a bit of a time to rest. Fear not, we will still be doing this very show that you are watching now, Ramblemancy, and also our game streams on Saturdays. So you can catch those. Actual plays will start up again after the break at the beginning of September. So I think that might be it for all of our announcements.
Yep, I think so.
This show will be on YouTube on Monday.
That's true. Where you can find all of our main shows on and like such as Infinite Horizon and In Too Deep. Yeah. As well as some of the one-off special programming that hasn't made its way there, but I'll get to it during the break.
Remember to actually rest looking at you, John and Lucas. Well, I will. I'll do it. Maybe. Probably.
We are, because we haven't done this in a while, because I usually forget or it's like way too late and I just don't feel like looking it up. We're gonna go raid Jam. How about let's go raid Jam? I don't know what she's doing right now, but let's go say hi to Jam.
It's a just chatting
It
stream.
is a just chatting stream. So
Much.
yeah, Jam is super cool, and if you've never caught one of her streams before, you will be, I think, delighted by her, and also, just her chat is great, much like this one. So yeah, everybody stick around, please, and so that we can at least give Jam some warm rule of lore regards. And
And after the raid, if you're going to lurk, make sure to just click the little live banner to get rid of the refer/raid in your URL, or you can just delete it and then
yeah, just
refresh
so
the
that
page.
it counts the views for because Twitch is really good at helping out the streamers who bring them content. Um,
Yep.
all right, everybody, we're gonna go tomorrow, right here at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I will be continuing with Mass Effect. So, we were on Vermeer, about halfway through Vermeer last time when we left off. So, hopefully it will not shit the bed like it has the last several times. But if we don't see you then, we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody. Go say hi to Jam. We'll see you later.